Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Composr CMS development stream. I am Aurelio, and today we are going to be working on the statistics system. So in Composr version 11, we are having some issues with the new statistics system. The issue that we are having is that the way that the statistics system stores data, it takes a lot of memory to load it all up and then recalculate statistics. And then this triggers PHP out of memory errors. And the reason that this is happening is because we are storing buckets of data month by month. So give us a quick moment while PHP My Admin loads up. So as you can see here in the structure of the statistics system, the structure of the data, the buckets of statistics are stored by month. We have a month interval that is stored along with the data, and the data is in serialized format in the database. But for some types of statistics, such as view counts and also event-based statistics, this data could get very, very large. So large, in fact, that when we try and load it in PHP from MySQL, we get out-of-memory errors, depending on the size of the website. And I think because it is happening on the home site, Composr.app, and Composr.app is not a particularly high-volume website. I mean, it does get a lot of bot traffic, but for a website, it is kind of on the low-moderate area of total traffic. I think this is a worthy bug to fix. But it is not something that we can easily fix. The issue that I face is that because the data triggers these PHP out-of-memory errors, we can't simply restructure the data into a smaller interval. Because the moment we load the data into PHP memory to manipulate it, we could get PHP out-of-memory errors. But we can't modify the data through SQL alone, because this is serialized text. And MySQL does not have a data type for serialized text. It just treats it like any other string. So we cannot manipulate the structure of the data through SQL alone. But again, we can't load it into PHP, because then we'll get the memory errors. So unfortunately, we will have to dump the statistics that we currently have in favor of replacing them with statistics that are stored by a smaller interval. And I am going to put a warning when Composr 11 Beta 9 is released, letting people know that the update will dump their current statistics. and that if these statistics are particularly important, that they should export them before upgrading to Beta 9. So that is the situation that we are in. Before we begin our coding for today, let us start with a trivia question that you can answer for credits. And these credits can be used for redeems. The question: which German field marshal was known as the Desert Fox? Type 1 for Wolfram Freiherr von Richthofen. Type 2 for Wilhelm List. Type 3 for Erwin Rommel. Or type 4 for Friedrich Busch. You have 30 seconds to lock in your guesses. This is an interesting history question. I am not sure what the answer is. Alright, 10 seconds left to lock in your guess. And the answer was Erwin Rommel, number 3. Alright, let us get started with our coding for today. The first thing that we are going to do is I am going to add a little bit of upgrader code, which will trigger upon upgrading the statistics module. So as you can see here, I initially was creating upgrader code in order to restructure the data of what we have now, but then I realized we can't do this. If PHP memory errors were getting triggered when processing statistics, they most certainly will get triggered here as well. So the only thing we can do is just dump the correct data. So that is what we are going to do. We are actually going to take this out and change it to a delete query. And we are going to delete everything in this table. We'll add a comment here indicating why we are doing this. So again, we cannot safely migrate the old statistics data without PHP memory errors. The next thing that we are going to do is that I have to make a determination as to how we are going to store the data from now on. The easiest way to do this would be perhaps storing it as daily buckets rather than monthly buckets. This would require the least amount of refactoring. And it would also greatly reduce the chance of PHP item memory errors. But it doesn't reduce it to 0. You could, in theory, have a very busy website that somehow still gets a huge bucket list of data just for a day's time. And that could still trigger the PHP memory errors. So I want to take a moment to look around the code to see if maybe there would be a better solution to this. I suspect there will not be, unfortunately, with how statistics work. This is the function here that actually calculates the statistics and puts them into the preprocess table that you see here. The reason why it is causing PHP out-of-memory errors is because in order to process the data, it has to load in what we already have and pass it into the statistics hooks. So the data buckets variable ends up getting pretty big pretty quickly. Because we could be processing data just for the last hour, but data buckets could have data for up to a month in advance. I am going to check on the hooks that process this data. So each hook has its own preprocessed raw data function, which is what is called by that stats function. And we get the month versus date here. Hello, Dirty Poncho. Welcome to the stream. We are working on rebuilding the statistics system in Composr CMS. Because the way the statistics system works right now is it stores statistics and analytics by month in the database. And these can get so large that it creates out-of-memory errors. Alright, hope you enjoy the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have, or if you are just curious about anything. That way Twitch can continue to count you as a viewer in my stream. Okay. We have month followed by pivot in the data buckets variable, followed by pivot value. Let me put a pin on this real quick. So we grab the bucket out of the database here and put it under bucket month pivot. So it looks like we have 8 pivot value. I wonder if we could restructure the database, get rid of P month here, and add a column called P pivot value. I have to give this a little bit more thought and look into the other hooks first before we do that. Let us check into the definition of calculate pivot value. Okay, no, it is not going to be that simple. If we go with just pivot and pivot value, we are not going to know the time series for which the data applies to. So we are still going to need something such as p-day. Or will we? I am actually a little bit curious about how this works. I am going to log into the home site for 1 second and check how the statistics graph works. This is not something that I personally developed, so I have to familiarize myself with the statistics system. Okay, but you know there is periods such as hour of day. And it looks like you can filter by date range on those as well. Okay. So that is why they are in monthly buckets. Let's see, we have hour of day, we have day, we have week, month, quarter, and year. Hour of day calculates individual hours for an entire day's time span. So the smallest interval we have in a chart is day. Technically. So we could get away with storing by day in the database. This would significantly decrease the chance that we have PHP out-of-memory errors. I'm still thinking about refactoring into pivot value as well. Now the thing that I am thinking about, if we refactor out, so for context here, let me go back to the function. Okay. Our statistics are based off of month and pivot. Pivot, of course, is the type of tally that we want. So each of these is a pivot. We pivot the graph in different time in different ways based off of time and day. So the pivot type is a column in its own, which implies each type has its own row in the database. But each value of said type is an entry inside the data, therefore they do not get their own row. So for instance, the hour by day pivot would have 24 different pivot values, one for each hour of the day. So if we were to refactor this simply by pulling pivot value out into another column, that would space out the data, or hour by day, into 24 separate rows, thereby reducing the size of the data by about 1/24. The real issue, I think, might be day time series. Or perhaps, let me think about this real quick. Yeah, it would be daytime series probably. Because this would store up to 31 different types of data. So if we refactor that out, it would reduce key data quite significantly. So could we, in theory, keep storing by month buckets if we just refactor the pivot value? I want to say no, that will not help us, and the reason being is that we would still need to load all of that data into PHP if we are processing by month, which means we would still get the out-of-memory errors, so we would still need to refactor and store the data by day rather than month. So that is what we are going to do. This is probably going to be a multi-day project, because the refactoring process not only affects the data in the database, but it also affects how we handle date ranges on the interface. I am going to just do a simple search in specs for the word of month, and we can start from there to see what we need to refactor. Time series date pivots can be left alone. This will be day instead of month from now on. This is the first thing that we will need to change. Build data by date pivots. Because we are going to be doing date ranges now instead of month ranges. The series starts day and day. If it's value,
Round the corner, down the lane, lurks a teapot with a sinister brain. Steam rising, eyes so mean, haunts the streets every Halloween.
Kids in costume, sweets in hand, but if you're naughty you misunderstand.
Tip tap, drip drip, creeping slow, the spout tilts down, oh here we go. The giant teapot's coming, better behave. It pours hot tea, no one's safe. If you're cheeky or play a trick, you feel the splash, quick, quick, quick.
Candy wrappers left on the floor, knocking too loud on the neighbor's door.
shut up.
Teapot hears it's got good ears.
This is going to get a little complicated. Let's see, we have
storms inside. One wrong move and you'll get fried. Cup and saucer,
days.
soldiers march. Tea-stained trails under the arch.
Biscuits crumble, crunched in rage. The teapot traps you in his porcelain
The
cage.
giant teapot's coming, better behave. It pours hot tea, no one's safe. If you're cheeky or play a trick, you'll feel the splash, quick, quick, quick.
Give it value. Let's see, day series start day plus j minus 1. So this is coming from the loop. We don't need that anymore. We don't need the loop. I is the start day. Actually, I think this needs to be I. We don't even need this. Okay, day of week. That will be left alone. Ooh, is that going to be a problem? Because if we are storing by day, there's only going to be one day of week in each one, in each bucket. I think we could get away with that. We would just have to be sure to change the code and generating the graphs. Start the timestamp. I don't you think we're going to be doing this by day now? I don't think we need this part of the code. So we have a setting in Composr called SSW, which allows us to start a week on a Sunday rather than a Monday. But in the statistics system, the statistics are stored hard-coded, so we cannot easily change between a week starts on a Sunday situation and one that starts on a Monday situation. Therefore, we have to pick one and stick with it throughout the entire stat system. And since a majority of the world starts their week on a Monday rather than a Sunday, that's what we have chosen. Do we even use timestamp here? I don't think we do. Give me a second.
The grave digger hums through it all.
Hold on. I have to do this to reset the cache.
He wakes the secrets buried in sleep. The hollow ground whisper secrets all around. With a ghostly grin, the grave digger dances where life gives it. Rats for company,
Ooh.
stars for light.
Yeah, this is this is not a very efficient use of the database the way that we are doing it. Even when we store in month, we're storing unnecessary data when we get to the time intervals beyond a month.
Hollow hearts and empty
So I have to rethink this. Instead of storing by month or day, we will have to go to pivot and pivot value. But we need to do that in a smart way.
with a ghostly grin. The grave digger dances where life gives in. He hums to the wind, it hums back low. The dead don't care where the living go. A crow on his shoulder, a lantern in hand. The grave digger
I'm thinking about this. Give me one moment.
our plan.
Okay, so the way that the data is processed currently is we have the name of the bucket, followed by the time interval, followed by the pivot, followed by the pivot value. I wonder if we could do time interval on a dynamic basis based off of the pivot. Yeah, that would be very efficient. This is quite complicated. Let's see, we do data interval pivot value. Okay, what we could do is get rid of Kima and create two new columns, pivot interval and pivot value. So we will get the table field in Scratch preprocessed. Named T-lock. Then we will create pivot interval. Apparently that is not a function. Okay, that is weird. Inconsistent naming. They call it add table field. And this is going to be type integer. And the default will be 0. We do not want this to be a nullable field. So I guess it doesn't matter if we don't specify question mark in the type, because this is a software-based type. If we were to put question mark in there, that would signify that the column can be nullable. The pivot value will be a short text probably, because there are certain pivots where the pivot value will be a string, like a data of some sort. I want to do it a different way though. I want to do it by integer again. I want to do it based off of an interval index of some sort from interval.
A hat so tall her shadow bites the witches loose on Halloween night. Her broomstick hums, her cauldron steams, candy melts into her schemes. Trick or treat, she grins so wide. Snap your fingers, now you're a fly.
Okay, actually we could do integer for that as well.
The witch is here on
It would be easier to do in the code, to work with in the code if we do it by integer.
Doorbells ring, her spells ignite. A cat turns into a crow mid-flight. Her laugh is sharp, it cuts the breeze. A trail of spiders down your knees. Eyes of newt and toadstool dust. She casts her magic wild and just. One by one the children change. Halloween's never felt so strange. Trick or treat, she grins so wide. Snap your fingers, now you're a fly. Pumpkins scream, bats take flight. The witch is here on Halloween night.
Oh, it is ID. Okay. I'm doing a little bit of thinking here. These are also primary keys. Do we want that for our new columns? Because p-month was a primary key. We have bucket as a primary key. We have pivot as a primary key. Pivot interval should be a primary key. And yeah, I do believe pivot value should also be a primary key. Thus comparing those four fields together, they should be unique. Okay. Now let's go back to where we were. Which was this. So now that we have our thoughts in place here, where we are going to be doing pivot value and pivot interval, we have to modify this function accordingly. So for context, we have it pivot interval. Or actually, let's start with pivot. Pivot is a code name for the type of pivot that we are doing for the data, such as hour of day, day series, day of week, and so on. Pivot interval would be some sort of numeric date interval from epoch. So let's say, for instance, we are doing week series for our pivot. Pivot interval would be the week number since epoch. Or if we are doing hour of day, the pivot interval will be the day number since epoch. Pivot value would be specific to the pivot. So in the case of hour of day, pivot value would be the numeric hour of the day of the pivot interval, 0 through 23. And in case of day series, pivot value will probably just be 0 every time. Because there will only be one data point per day. For day of week, pivot interval would be weeks since epoch, and the pivot value would be the day within that week, 0 to 6. And in the week series, it would always be 0. Week of year, the pivot interval would be the year numbers since epoch. And then of course the pivot value would be the week number of that year. But the series, pivot value will always be 0 and the interval would be the number of the month since epoch. Point of year, interval would be the year number, value would be the month within that year. Quarter series, interval would be the year number, and value would be the quarter number within that year. That's it. Yes, probably because we don't have a way to calculate quarters within our interval functions. And then quarter of year would be the same thing. And then the year series, of course, interval would be year, value would always be 0. That is what I'm thinking in terms of how we store this data. So, we are still going to pass in the pivot, but I don't know if we are going to be passing in start day and end day. I think we should do timestamp instead. If we do pivot first or pivot interval first, I think we should do pivot first, then pivot interval. And then to pivot back the pivot value. Okay, so at the start hour of day, pivot interval would be day number. Pivot value will be hour of that day. I am going to leave this looping here because I just remembered we are going to need that loop. Actually, now that I think about this, this may be a memory issue as well. I don't know just yet. We'll go ahead and we'll continue the way that I'm doing it for the time being. So we start by calculating the day intervals, and we put that into a loop. And then we loop for each hour in the day. Hold on a minute. Is there a way we can make this simpler by just using series to get this data? I don't think we, but for hours specifically, I don't think we can, but we will work this out. Its period interval would be the day. Pivot value would be J. So that would be pretty much the structure that we're aiming for here, the new structure. So we are going to pause here as we are at the top of the hour for our stream. We will go ahead and take about a 7-minute break, and when we come back, we will continue working on this. Everybody stick around, we will be right back.
Composr CMS. Your data, your privacy, your control. Build any type of website. Composr CMS. Your data, your privacy, your control. Build any type of website that you want. Make it run and look exactly how you want it to. And view and modify any part of the software code with Composr CMS. Composr CMS is free and open source software. You have full access over its codebase. You have full access and ownership over your data. You can find out exactly what Composr CMS is doing because you can see all of its code. And if you don't like something that Composr is doing, you can change it. Try finding that level of control in a lot of modern software and websites. Because Composr CMS is open source, you could see and modify what it does with your data. Composr CMS also has powerful privacy tools to help your site be in compliance with data protection legislation. There's an automatic privacy policy generator. There are settings to control the visibility of content. Members can download and purge their data. And there are advanced parental controls to control how children access your website. Make decentralized websites great again with Composr CMS. Right out of the box, Composr CMS offers many different content types that you can use to build a website exactly how you want it to. No longer do you have to piece together many different third-party add-ons or plugins in order to get a website the way you want it to. Everything works harmoniously. Composr CMS also comes out of the box with other useful features. We have tools to make installation a breeze. Support tickets allow members to privately communicate with you. You can add e-commerce functionality to your site, send newsletters to members, and more. Build your own social network with Composr CMS. We have standard features such as member profiles, user groups, forums, chat rooms, instant messaging, and private topics, but also unique features such as a point system, achievements, and karma. And with Hybrid Auth, members can log into your site using other social media accounts. Composr CMS conforms to a strict set of standards to ensure optimal performance and wide compatibility. Composr will run on most modern browsers and a wide variety of web hosts and servers. And the strict coding standards ensure that you can easily develop and expand upon Composer's current functionality. Composr CMS takes security very seriously. Out of the box, it has many different features to ensure your site is walled out from malicious actors. Composr has its own hack attack detection system to detect when somebody is trying to hack your site, and it will notify you and automatically ban them. Composr also has a health check system to inform you of detected site problems. Not to mention, Composr has strict content security policies, XSS protection, cross-site request forgery protection, session hijacking protection, rootkit detection, and more. Composr CMS also has out-of-the-box many security tools involving your users. There are a lot of tools for preventing spam, such as anti-spam heuristics to stop spam based off of behavior, block list integration to stop spammers based off of public spam block lists, and also spam black holes and CAPTCHAs to stop automated bots. There's a very in-depth permissions and privileges system to control what users can see and do. There's an action log so you can see what everybody does. You can investigate a user based off of username, member ID, email address, or IP address to see what they've been doing. And you can discipline unruly members using the warnings and punishments system. Also, if any of your members spot inappropriate content, they can report it to you through the support ticket system. Easily manage your website through the admin zone. There you can edit the site content, view various different logs, run wizards and tools, and control the configuration. When editing something, you will also be informed if another staff member is editing the same thing to prevent conflicts. A couple of other unique features of Composr CMS includes broken URL scanning and zones, which act like subsites. Composr CMS has several development tools to make extending or changing its functionality easy. Code overrides allow you to change the code of Composr by creating files within the custom directories without actually modifying the original code. This makes upgrading easier because you can diff the changes between your code and the original code. Or you could create hook files to extend existing functionality without needing to override anything at all. And mini folders allow you to quickly create functionality without following Composer's traditional API or MVC formats. Composr comes with a basic code editor if you don't have a professional IDE. It has an advanced template editor where you can edit the look and feel of your site in real time. ResourceFS allows you to access your site's content as a virtual file system. And with the WebDAV add-on, you can use external tools such as CyberDuck. Commander is a command line environment for Composr CMS. Profiler APIs allow you to track memory use and time commitments on different operations, and the testing platform add-on allows you to run automated tests on the software to ensure you don't break anything. That concludes this intro video for Composr CMS. Why don't you give Composr CMS a try? You can download it for free at composr.app. And if you need any assistance, or if you find any issues or have any suggestions, look under the support item on the menu of the site.
Okay, sorry about that. I took a little bit longer than I was expecting. I am not entirely sure how long of dead air we had there. It was about maybe a minute, but we are back. And we are going to continue working on where we left off with this code here, this refactoring of the statistics system in order to avoid out-of-memory errors with PHP. Before we continue, we will do our second trivia question of the stream. And you could use those gray storage redeems on the channel. Which movie contains the quote, "Say hello to my little friend"? Is it 1. Reservoir Dogs, 2. Heat, 3. Goodfellas, or 4. Scarface? Type in your vote in the chat. 35 seconds left to lock in your answer. I've heard this vote before, but I can't remember what movie it was from. A very famous quote. Alright, 10 seconds left to lock in your guess. And time is up. The answer was Scarface. I was torn between Heat and Scarface on this one. Alright, we will continue with our refactoring of the statistics system. So we did our of day before the break to get an idea of how we are going to structure the fill data by date pivots. Case series is going to be pretty similar to hour of day, except we are not adding in the hour of day. J, which is going to be the pivot value, will always be 0. And we will copy the code for hour of day and utilize that for day of week, because it will be quite similar. And the weekend numbers are 0 to 6. The day numbers within the week are 0 to 6. And the week series is going to be based off of year, I believe. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, yeah, we will need to put this epoch up here as well in order to dictate that our weeks start on a Monday. If we were to start the epoch on 0, then what will happen is the weeks will start on a Thursday, because the first day of epoch, January 1st, 1970, fell on a Thursday. So that's why we specify this. This is the number of seconds after January 1st, 1970. You get the 12 a.m. Monday, the following 12 a.m. Monday. So that our day of week starts on Mondays. Okay, we are going to go ahead and copy the code for day series for week series. Oh, hold on 1 second. Yes, that's what we are going to do. But again, we have to do the epoch thing. And then the week of year will follow the similar code to hour of day. We don't need epoch for this, I don't think. And then we do month series. And then the month of year, we will copy from the week of year. Quarter series, we have to be a little bit more strategic about it this way, because we do not have quarters in our calculation. So what we are going to do in this case is we are going to calculate our interval by month, or intervals. Let me think about this. I may actually want to create a orders section in here. Ooh, but that's going to be... It's going to be a little complicated. Well, actually, what we could do is we could do the interval value of this divided by 3. Because PHP is an interval function, it does a rounding down. There we go. I think that'll work for our case. And then the quarter of year, we do in month of year. We calculate the year interval and then specify quarter numbers down here. And then finally the year series. Okay. I think that will do it. But you fill data by data pivots. I don't think we're going to be using that outside of the top level preprocess function, because I think what I am going to be doing is populating the data variable with the blank data prior to running the stats hooks. Because if you see here in the search, we don't populate until we actually get into the statistics section. Oh, but we have generate final data to worry about as well. Okay, I will put a pin on that. We'll come back to that later. Let us worry about build data by 8 pivots first.
Sacrifice of body, mind and soul.
We are going to refactor this function out. I don't want it to be part of the hook-based class. Instead, I want it to be a global function because we are going to be using it within other global functions. So we have a preprocess raw data function here. So I am going to refactor the function down here. Hello, Ryoko Gemma. I am doing pretty well. How about you? Today we are refactoring the statistics system within Composr CMS to hopefully resolve an issue where there's so much data being loaded in that it's causing out-of-memory errors. Yeah, it is a bit complicated, but I am doing my best to explain everything as we go along. So the original way that the statistics system has been working is that it would store data in the database by month. So every row would have data for an entire month. And as you probably could imagine, having all of that data for 1 month in one row could easily exceed several megabytes on a big website and trigger out-of-memory errors on a server. So we are refactoring this out so that the data is spread out in smaller chunks. We're getting rid of the month column and we're storing by date ranges instead of hard-coded month, so that we can get only the data that we need for processing. Alright, so we are now going to go to the preprocess raw data function. We need to refactor this now, because this always assumes a monthly process, which is no longer the case. We're going to initialize a data buckets variable to an empty array. Actually, we don't need to initialize to an empty array. We could just immediately call our fill data by date pivots function. Oh, but we are going to do, we're going to need to do that on each pivot type. Let me see if there is. I don't want to hard code each pivot type in that call. Let me see if there's like an array or a constant somewhere that defines this. We do have a date pivot, get big pivots. but it is part of the hook-based class. I wonder if anything is overriding it. But it could perhaps override. Okay, enough. I see. Okay, we need to revert to what we get down here. Put it back in CMS hook base, CMS stacks hook base. Right there. And then for the stacks preprocess 4, and we need to get the hook object. We already got the hook object, that's good. Okay. So then we just need to call but that's going to have to become a public function. There we go. Then we ran a calculated date edit value. But we need to do it on every pivot. So we are going to send us into a loop momentarily. Oh, wait. This is not right. This is not right. What are we doing? I publicized the wrong function. We needed to publicize this function, build data by date pivots. Not this one. However, we do also need to publicize this function. Get the date pivots. We will start our loop. And we perform an array merge. On data buckets. By merging in our pre-filled data. So by doing that, we now should have our pre-filled data buckets based off of the time period of which we are processing statistics. And now we could do a select query on our database based off of that. I'm picking here. Okay, this is not a very elegant solution, but I cannot think of anything else. We are going to have to do a recursive, recursive, whatever you call it, a recursive for each loop on data buckets. There might be a better way to do this, and I'll have to do a little bit of research on how to collapse complex arrays. Oops. I forgot to use. It would be cheap to this. I need to make sure that I have the correct names. No, I don't. Edit. Control. Edit. Value. Again, finally, we iterate over what we need to select or query from the database. And we basically do the same thing that we are already doing here. Actually, we should probably just do it up here, because we are going to need to refer to these other variables again. Um, oh, we need to select a key bucket. Ooh, okay. I completely forgot that we need to include the bucket key. Keep it digital. Keep it about you. Okay, this is for the entire operation. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this needs to be bucket. I'm glad I caught that. It would have had a bit of a recursive for each loop there. It worked for that. Thinking. Okay. This is the old code here. We don't need this anymore. Oops. I think what we are also going to do is that this is still going to trigger PHP out of memory issues if we're processing a big chunk of data at once. So we need to optimize even further. I hate that we're going to be creating yet another for each loop. But we need to break down the processing of the range of start time and end time. Perhaps break it down by day so that we run an iteration on each day. I'm thinking about this. Still thinking. If this is going to be a ton of SQL queries in the end, I don't like it, but we're going to have to do it anyway. Stability over optimization, it has to work before we can optimize it, and in a great condition. When it crashes because of PHP out of memory issues, it doesn't work. So, I think sacrificing SQL optimization in favor of reduced PHP memory is justified in this case, because then at least the statistics processing will actually work. So what we are going to do is we are going to break start time and end time up into sections by day. Let's see here. Optimization should prevent PHP out of memory issues. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a new variable called underscore end time. It is going to initially be start time plus 1 day. And we are going to do the overflow check here to make sure it does not exceed end time, the actual end time. We process on a daily interval to reduce the chance of PHP out of memory issues. And then we start a loop here. Actually, no, not a top before each loop. We are going to do a dual loop. Okay, so we do a dual loop here, and we loop while the head time is less than the actual end time. And at the bottom here, we do this again. Except, instead of start time, we increment off of itself.
Nightmare flow, they lurking where the screams grow. Eyes in the trees, they see what you don't know. Nightmare flow, streets.
Yeah, but that's going to terminate early. We're going to miss a loop here. Because if we let's say if we had an hour left to process, and we're adding a day onto it, it'll exceed by 23 hours. So this sets it to the actual end time. We break out of the loop because this condition is true. We could put this less than or equal to, but then we end up in an infinite loop because of this if condition. This is going to keep resetting end time back to so that it doesn't ever exceed this end time. But now we have an infinite loop. I'm thinking here.
She's born of code in a neon tomb, a shadow queen in a pixel blue, fangs of fire in a crimson grin, our little Grail. Let the hunt begin. Our little Grail.
I got an idea. Prior to incrementing at any time, we can do a check right here. Where if it's already greater than or equal to that time, we break out of the loop. And this condition is no longer needed because we do the break up here, so we just do while true. Okay, I think that'll do it. But now we have a new variable for our end time that we have to use when inside this dual loop. So we have to update that.
Take your soul to hold.
Oops.
cold. Bloodless hands, but a grip so bold. She'll drink your time, your dreams, your fears. Arleal Krill. She's the end of year.
Okay, and then that should update the data in the database. So we process by day so that we don't get too much data loaded into PHP and possibly trigger out-of-memory errors. So it's not very optimal or efficient in terms of processing speed and SQL queries. This is obviously going to use a lot of SQL queries, especially if we have to process multiple days at a time. But that is the necessary cost to significantly reducing the chance that we run into a PHP out-of-memory issue. Now, do we have to do anything with the flat data? We have the bucket, and it's based off of, yeah, it doesn't, it's not based off of any time interval or anything, so I do not think we have to refactor the flat data reprocessing. Okay, now we are going to continue our refactoring by going back up into the function up here. You'll do a search for month. That should be fine. Calculate data pivot value needs to be refactored possibly. Keep it tight. It's got interval index. Take a week. Week series. Actually, this looks fine to me. But let's see. Week of year. In month series. Month of year, quarter series, yep, months divided by 3, quarter of year series, yep, that looks fine to me. I don't think we need to change anything in that function. We've already done fill data by pivots. This will have to be fixed. Convert the hunt range filter array to a range pair. How are we using this? It's being used in the generator final data. the first month range to pair. The range value is what is specified in the filter. Range becomes, aha, I see. So it becomes, this would actually be used to calculate key pivot interval, probably. Let's rename this function first and foremost, because this will not be used just for months. We will call it the pivot interval filter instead of month range filter. For the pivot interval filter array to a range pair, it only specifies one value. But we are going to need to know the pivot. Let's see once again how this is used. Okay, we do specify pivot in the function. It is passed into the function. So that is good. So we can grab it from that. So, we need the pivot. So the pivot for which we are calculating the interval, and then the range value of the bucket. We are going to change month range to a different name. Let's see this. The smallest interval is day, so we'll just call it day range because there is no way on the interface to be able, without complex JavaScript, to be able to change this. So what I am thinking about doing, that changing this based off of the selected pivot. So what I am thinking about doing is changing this to a day selector rather than a drop down of year and month. And therefore, this would be a simple day range. We would pass in the days. So yeah, the pivot interval is also not a good name for this function. So let's change it to K range because it is going to be by day regardless when we pass it in. And we are going to change the double underscore month range to double underscore day range. that looks good to us. We replace. Let's see, we have the value of the range. Okay, so we are actually at our 2-hour mark here. And I am going to need to do a little bit of research into a little bit more research into how the ranges work in order to refactor this.
There's a shadow that dances, a specter that calls. He's got eyes like embers, teeth like steel. The weak goblins coming, better make good deal.
Well, I am going to put a note here to let myself know that this is where I left off, and I am going to continue work on there. But for the time being, I am going to call it the stream for today. We will do one more trivia question before we close off for a chance to earn credits towards channel redeems, and then we will call it the stream. But here we go with the trivia question. The question is, which of these positions did the astronomer and physicist Isaac Newton not hold? Type your vote in the chat. Type 1 for Warden of the Royal Mint. Type 2 for Professor of Mathematics. Type 3 for Surveyor to the City of London. And type 4 for Member of Parliament. You have about 30 seconds left to lock in your guess. Sir Isaac Newton. But I believe Isaac Newton, yes, Sir Isaac Newton, which means that I think he had some sort of royalty position of some sort. But I am not sure which one of those he was not. Oh man, that was going to be my guess. Number 3 was the answer. Surveyor of the City of London. Alright, be sure to give Composr CMS a try and a look if you are looking for a free and open source software to build and maintain a website. You can check it out at composr.app. That is COMPOSR.app. And you can download it from there, put it on a server. It works on most shared hosting, VPS, and dedicated servers, and you can play around with it. This is for version 11, which is still in development. You could try out version 10 if you want something stable, but not necessarily actively maintained other than for bug fixes, by going to the site compo.sr. Thank you everybody for tuning in to today's stream. Have a happy Halloween, and I will see you next time.